and mares went out to summer pasture. Thousands of birds fly south each year. Ice melts, winter goes, flowers grow. Lord, we know, 'cause love, 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 love takes time. Love, 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 love takes time. Love, 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 it just takes time. Love, 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 it just takes time. Baby's born early in the morning.
The Beatles and Paul Simon. Learned how to fingerpick from listening to him.
My name is Doug Brendel, and I write The Outsider, which is a weekly column in the Ipswich Chronicle, this very fine publication.
You know, April and all that stuff. All those tunes. They were very popular at the time. And,
Hi, my name's Carley Restuccia, and I'm a sophomore at Ipswich High School. At the high school, I applied for a sustainability challenge that involved going to Costa Rica in 2015, and I really enjoyed doing that project, and it really opened my eyes to the problems of sustainability and how we need to help our world.
My name's Brian Landry. I'm originally from Lynn, Massachusetts. Don't hold that against me. I am a operatic tenor. Don't hold that against me either.
It's a commentary on life in small-town New England from the standpoint of a newcomer, which is what I am. I haven't been in town very long.
it was the thing, you know. Well, everybody had wanted to be a soldier like 50 years before. And then when we were that age, we wanted to be the Beatles. Wanted to strap on the guitar and
But it's been great fun to write the column. The editor of the Chronicle, Dan McAlpine, invited me to write this column, and I had only ever made my living as a writer for hire, writing assignment after assignment as a freelancer, 35 some years. And when he asked me to volunteer as a columnist for this newspaper, I began having the most fun I've ever had as a writer. 500 words a week as a volunteer has been a blast.
I got interested in opera late in life, but my dad definitely planted some seeds because he listened to opera all throughout growing up. My dad listened to a lot of vocalists. He loved good vocalists, whether it was Elvis Presley, Roy Orbison, doo-wop, Motown. He just loved good singers, and opera singers are the best singers in the world, in my opinion, and I think in my dad's opinion too. So there was always opera on in the house. Enrico Caruso, Beniamino Gigli, Luciano Pavarotti.
The focus point that I chose was styrofoam, and styrofoam is a really wasteful product that can easily be replaced. And I was noticing how much we rely on it in our community and around the world, and how it just sits in landfills for years and years after. And I think that it can be replaced.
well, this song is dedicated to Steve Comley, who ran a nursing home in Rowley, and when he asked Seabrook Nuclear Plant what he should do with his patients in the home, they said, give them iodide to drink. And he says, that's it? Yeah, that's it. That's what we got for backup here. So he's got a nursing home with 250 people, which he feels obligated that he has to evacuate under the circumstances. And it was because of the response that he got that he decided he was going to entertain whistleblowers that had worked in the plant and who had something to say about what had gone on.
So I wrote a song about the steps that I was going to take for getting rid of styrofoam in Ipswich and around the world. And I was really inspired by, we had to write an essay, so I just looked at my essay and looked at all the focus points that I chose and looked at all the steps that I was going to use, and I sort of put them in an order where they sounded okay together and made a song about it. And I really enjoyed that whole process and just the creativity that was going on during it.
There was faked X-rays of joints, of pipes, and there was a lot of beer bottles by the side of the road outside the plant because the boys would be throwing them out the window on the way back home. You shouldn't have asked. So that was what irritated Steve, and he became very unpopular and racked up a huge fine because he was entertaining whistleblowers, and well, he was a very brave, talented guy. He ran the nursing home there, and he had, what was the name of the outfit? It was We the People. That was the name of the outfit, and he made a big difference.
Later on in my 20s, the rock band U2 had this little side project called The Passengers, and they did soundtracks for documentaries, and one of them was called Miss Sarajevo, and they wrote a song called Miss Sarajevo, and it was about a beauty pageant being held in Sarajevo as the city was being bombed during the fall of the Soviet Union. It's this beautiful kind of slow U2 song, slow rock, and all of a sudden at the end of the song, Luciano Pavarotti, who was very close with Bono from U2, does this amazing opera solo just out of nowhere, just like interposed into the song. And I was 24, 25 when I heard it, and it just blew me away. And it really, I like to say, it watered all those seeds that my dad had planted by listening to opera when I grew up. And I became obsessed. I became a fanatic. And I just started listening to opera obsessively and stealing all my dad's records. Sorry, Dad. And digging up his old 45s, Mario Lanza. I mean, just listening to opera constantly. And I was always a singer. I always liked to sing as a little boy. I would sing top 40, whatever was on the radio, whatever my dad was listening to. And so I sang opera because I was listening to opera all the time.
So after I applied, I presented my concerns about styrofoam to judges, and then I ended up getting in. And 11 other students and I are going to travel to Costa Rica, and I'm extremely excited about it. We're going to meet so many students from around the world that all focus on a general idea of helping the environment. And I'm really excited for it, and I think this whole process has really opened my eyes to the environment and how we can help it and how easy it is to fix things.
And at the end of every year, I collect all the columns for the year, draw cartoons to illustrate them, and we put them in books, which are available at Ipswich Greetings and Gifts and Zenobia and other places in town. I'm really enjoying the ride, and I hope the readers are too.
Steps that I will take, setting up a database, conducting a survey, informing businesses of the alternatives, then a petition for the initiative to vote on no styrofoam. All my friends are turning green. She's the magician's assistant in the dreams. Ooh, baby, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you sing that song, and I'm unstuck. Baby, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you sing that song, and I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. I just wanna know if you're gonna stay. I just gotta know. I can't help it any other way. I swear she's destined for the screen, closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen. Baby, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you sing that song, and I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong.
Those large black ants, the solitary ones you've seen in your kitchen this spring, marching alone across the counter from the fridge to the sink, those are carpenter ants. Let me assure you, they're not called carpenters because they measure twice and cut once. These guys infest anything wooden, say your first period house or your newly installed Home Depot tool shed. They like to hollow out great cavernous galleries, as they're called, and extensive tunnels to get there in your wooden structure, especially when there's moisture, like under your window or under your deck, your porch, the eaves of your roof. They don't eat the moist, chewy wood like a termite. They just bite the wood off, tiny little ant-sized mouthful by tiny little ant-sized mouthful, and spit it out, and then do it again and again, until one day your house groans lugubriously and caves in on itself. What carpenter ants do eat is gross. They feed mostly on dead insects, one favorite snack, sucking the bodily fluids out of a dead bug head. But they send out scouts to find these tasty morsels. And if the scout's route happens to take him through your kitchen, you may soon have a caravan of carpenters climbing your coffee pot. "Hold on a minute," I said to one the other day. "What?" the ant shot back, barely pausing between the knife rack and the Cuisinart. "I'm busy." Do you realize this is my house you're in?" "I'm just a scout," the ant replied with a sneer. "I'm not stealing your precious Lucky Charms." "Yeah, but you're casing the joint for your accomplices." The ant sat down grumpily on his bulbous posterior metasoma and crossed two of his legs. "Look, it's a job. I bring them the information, and what they do with it is their business. I can't take responsibility for the actions of every ant in the colony. Do you check the politics of your car mechanic?" He pulled a single strand of tobacco out of his tiny backpack. "Got a light?" No smoking. House rule," I muttered. "My wife would kill you." "Your wife would kill me anyway," the ant sniggered. "Come on, give me a light. Haven't you ever heard of the one last cigarette tradition?" I didn't like the way he kept changing the subject. "You realize what thin ice you're skating on, don't you?" I demanded. "If we see you, we squish you. You're not a speedy species." "Yeah, I put in for rollerblades, but..." He rolled his eyes. "Budget cuts, you know." I snorted. Then I was embarrassed and pulled out a handkerchief and tried to pretend I was blowing my nose.
Look, the aunt continued, I'm union. I do what I'm told. The contract we negotiated was very fair in my opinion. I use biochemical pheromones to mark the shortest path from the nest to the food source, which in your case is from just under the southwest corner of your screen porch to that bag of tortilla chips that you tore too far down the side. I choked. Then I was embarrassed and tried to pretend it was a simple cough. Once we get the foraging trail established, the aunt went on, pausing to yawn a tiny yawn, my work is done. I moved to the next house on my job list. He pulled out a tiny iPad and perused the screen. Chris and Tammy, 3 small kids, plenty of food sources. I summoned my shame and rage in an effort to get back on the offensive. But you're not the only one at risk, cutting through my kitchen like this, I growled. We have another house rule here at the Brendels. When we kill a carpenter ant, we count. If we get up to 7 in a single day, we call the exterminator. Once he comes in, your whole gang goes down. The ant shrugged 4 of his shoulders. You think we don't know all of this? He shook his clypeus with a glare of contempt. We know your house rule. We can hear. 7 in a day. He grunted with derision. Have you gotten up to 7 yet? Well, no. Of course not, dummy. He smugly folded his antennae together. Because we only send out 6 scouts a day. I had no retort for this. So I squished him with my thumb. Honey, I called to my wife. Phone the bug guys.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are falling. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadows, or snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And if ye come and all the roses dying, and I am dead as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I shall hear the soft you tread above me, and all my grave will warm or sweet or be, for you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Hey, you dancing down the atom smashing alley. Got party shaggy dog stories and limousines. Everything but wings to flies. Wanna make a getaway, it's okay. FEMA give us I-dye to drink. FEMA give us I-dye to drink. I fell for my Cockney darling down the brook, and I married her without a second look. She was handsome, she is fine. She was sweet behind the donut shop. When her mind went soft, she began to shine. Funny like Tommy Knuckles is a real thing. She's a luminous green, shining funny like. Let me not too sweetly sing. Well, I went to visit Chernobyl Lily. Got fine bone trying to drink your cup of tea. She got fine bones from China syndrome. She lost her heart, she lost her home, and I'm going for laughs. You know it's not funny. And the genius who set this wheel on fire, Madam Curie's still too hot to go on trial. Read her clever notes with a lead-line periscope. Can't touch him with a 10-foot pole. They're shining funny like Tommy Knuckles is a real thing. She's a luminous green, she's shining funny like. Let me not too sweetly sing. They've updated the evacuation plan. Well, you kiss your ass goodbye and stick your head in the sand.
Well, the new one's not so much fun. When you hit the traffic jam, you just run and run and run and run. Well, I booed into a Nuke jobber's lunchbox. There was a big white rock and a bottle of scotch and a bag of tops. Half those wells was roasted, good as those boys was toasted. Wouldn't be singing his song. Yeah, there's hot rods down the brook, and these I sing. And we are the bride, we wear this 10-mile wedding ring. Remember 3 Mile Island dock, he hopped into a helicopter. Hippocratic, won't touch it. Shining funny like Tommy Knocker is the real thing. She's a luminous green, shining funny like. Let me not too sweetly, let me not too sweetly